Hi guys! Today's review video is a little bit different. We have some awesome talent in the vegan YouTube community and I wanted to recognize that. So today I'm going to make Astig Vegan's veganized Longsilog and tell you what I thought of her recipes. Longsilog is a Filipino breakfast plate with 3 items. You've got your eggs and sausage in there, but in true Asian form, instead of toast or hash browns, you've got rice. RG, the creator of Astig Vegan, made this 3-part video series that shows how to make each part of this dish vegan. I started with preparing the most complex of the 3 recipes, which is for vegan longaniza, a sweet and savory sausage. So even though it's the most complex of the 3, it's not that complicated. First, crumble some tofu. Then in goes some rehydrated shiitake mushrooms. I actually only had half the amount of shiitakes required in this recipe, so I halved the entire recipe to make a smaller batch. She has a second type of mushroom in this recipe, but I couldn't find it, so I used regular brown mushrooms. Then you just dump in the rest of the ingredients. There's savory tomato paste, garlic, some sweeteners, soy sauce, liquid smoke, and some other stuff. The recipe also included coconut vinegar, but I wasn't about to hunt some down, so I just used apple cider vinegar instead. Mix it all up, and it needs to rest for a half an hour or so for the flavors to do their thing together. In the meantime, I started on the scramble. The scramble has 2 parts, the tofu part and this mixture of chickpea flour, water, some other stuff, and kella namak, which is also known as black salt, even though it's not really black, it's pink. But it has a sulfuriness to it that really smells like eggs. For the tofu part, we fry up some garlic. You'll notice that this breakfast is super garlic heavy, which I love, so that's awesome in my opinion. Then in goes our tofu to fry up a bit and cook off some of the moisture. Now I have to be honest, I was a little bit doubtful at this point because I like to infuse my tofu scrambles with vegetable broth to make it really flavorful and cover the tofu taste. And this recipe didn't have that step. But I decided to keep going with it and only seasoned with a little sea salt. Next we add the chickpea mixture, just a little at a time. I thought it was really cool how this part cooked up because right away you can see it looks a lot like scrambled eggs. And guys, it really smells like eggs with all that black salt in there. For the first taste, it was still undercooked. I really tasted the raw chickpea flour. I wondered if maybe I should have toasted the chickpea flour first. But then after I cooked this for a little while longer, there was no raw taste and it was fine. Now it does taste like tofu and it does taste like chickpea flour, but in a good way actually. The garlic flavor is really wonderful and you still have that eggy aroma. But what really struck me was the texture. It is so bang on. I used to make eggs with the yolk added a bit later in the cooking process and the texture of this scramble really reminded me of that. It is ridiculous how close the texture is. Now we're back to the longaniza. It's been in the fridge for a half an hour and it's time to add some breadcrumbs. I only had panko, so I just hoped it would be a good enough binder. It seemed like I should have used regular breadcrumbs because it just wasn't sticking together like in RG's video, so I added a tablespoon of all-purpose flour. Then it seemed to bind everything together all right. So after making the sausage shapes, it was time to take it to the stove. In goes plenty of oil to fry the sausages, and on the other range, I have a pan for the fried garlic rice. In goes some oil into that pan too. Then when it was hot enough, I added a bunch of garlic. All that oil, and it's still healthier than the traditional version. While that was cooking, I started to cook the sausages. Just place them on the hot pan over medium heat. Now this recipe called for refined coconut oil, which I didn't have, so I used regular canola oil. RG already warned me that the fatty flavor would not be the same, so just keep that in mind if you decide to make this and you really want to make it like the original longaniza. As this was cooking, it smelled so amazing. Seriously, it was equal parts pleasure from smelling the aroma and pain from not being able to eat it yet. Meanwhile, the garlic in the other pan was golden, so I added the rice and some sea salt. I kind of went back and forth, moving the rice around to have it cook up evenly, and turning the sausages to brown on all sides. It didn't take too long before everything was done. Time to plate up. Some beautiful garlic fried rice, the tofu scramble, which I reheated a little bit as it cooled while we were waiting for the other parts to cook, and the glorious looking sausages, and one broken sausage. Look how gorgeous this looks. I also added some chopped green onion as recommended in the recipe, and some cilantro because, well, I love cilantro. First, I tried the sausage. It was so flavorful, sweet and a little tangy and spicy and just bam, with like flavored countryness. And as I'm recording this voiceover, I'm kind of drooling thinking about it. Is that TMI? I wasn't expecting how good it was going to be. My boyfriend also really loved this part of the dish in particular. Then some garlic rice, which is a plainer counterpart to the very flavorful longaniza. And it was just great. And altogether, this dish was just super delicious. Separately, the parts are good, but have a little bit of each thing in a bite and it's just incredible. So please, do yourself a favor and get over to Astig Vegan's channel. Subscribe to her for more Filipino vegan cooking demos, make these particular recipes, and thank me later. In the comments below, please let me know if you have heard of Astig Vegan before, if you have tried any other recipes from her, what you thought, and what other vegan YouTuber recipes you think I should try next. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now!